2023 is going to be full of games that will blow you away. Remakes like Resident Evil 4 are letting fans relive their glory days and introducing new players to beloved titles. Upcoming new IP like Starfield offer the promise of an entire universe for players to explore. There really has never been a better time to be a gamer, but that doesn't mean it's all sunshine and rainbows. For every industry changing mega hit that we are going to see this year, there are a dozen more games that will disappoint fans and frustrate players to the point of breaking their controllers. While some developers are offering expansive world and groundbreaking stories, others are doubling down on monetization systems that grind away at wallets and patience alike. The future of gaming looks bright, but the past is going to be littered with bad games, and there have already been plenty of major disappointments this year. Before sitting back and relaxing with your next favorite game, let's remember how far we've come in a short period of time. Here are the worst games 2023 has seen so far. Hi guys, I'm Ixin, and today in this video we are gonna check out and figure out 2023 worst games. And if you like this type of videos, of course, like this video, subscribe my channel and comment below, and I will drop a new part of this videos. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Make sure to see till the end, and there is nothing more. Let's just jump to the video. Number 1, The Lord of the Rings Gollum. Daedalic Entertainment's The Lord of the Rings Gollum is the very definition of the game that was not worth the wait. Originally announced in 2019 for a 2021 release, Gollum finally stumbled onto store shelves in May 2023. When fans finally got a chance to play their precious game, they discovered a final product that barely resembled the sprawling, epic RPG they had been promised. The graphics had been majorly downgraded when compared to early promo screenshots, while a majority of the game's complex decision-based mechanics had been boiled down to inexplicable one-word choices like spider or argue. Worst of all, this game was prone to frequent crashes, making it impossible for some plans to play and for some critics to even finish reviewing it. It's hard to imagine another gaming getting more abysmal reviews on Metacritic this year, and it's easy to see why. This is a game so bad that the developer issued an apology online and shortly thereafter closed its development division, putting an end to plans for a follow-up Lord of the Rings game. Even worse, it was revealed months later that Daedalic had not even written the apology letter, which, by the way, misspelled the name of the game. Members of the development team revealed to Game 2 that the publisher behind the title, Nacon, used ChatGPT to generate the apology without consulting the devs at all. In so many ways, The Lord of the Rings Gollum is a frustrating mess from start to finish, but it's not the only bad game to darken 2023. Number 2, Crime Boss Rockey City. For every live service game that manages to dazzle players with fun mechanics and to an ever-expanding world of content, there is another that seemingly uses the idea of live service to release a game that's unpolished to the point of feeling incomplete. Crime Boss Rockey City falls into the latter category. The game boasts a cast of celebrated Hollywood actors, but that's its only claim to fame. Crime Boss is an FPS roguelike in which players take on the role of Travis Baker, an up-and-comer in the crime-ridden streets of Rocky City. Players can recruit a team of gun-toting NPCs to help them conquer the city, or team up with their friends online in a multiplayer mode that explores the urban legends of the city's criminal underworld. Regardless of the mode, the missions in Crime Boss are so straightforward and fast-paced that they never feel satisfying. A typical run can easily be finished in just a few minutes. Then it's back to menus, team management, and finding another turf to attack. Unfortunately, these levels are exactly short but sweet. The gameplay in Crybus is riddled with bugs, most of which are basically game breaking. Players can get trapped inside walls, enemies can fail to fully spawn, littering the battlefield with invisible NPCs that make actually finishing the mission borderline impossible. As a live service game, there is a chance Crime Boss cleans up the bugs, but it will still be left with mindless missions, an incomprehensible story, and a disappointing lack of customization. Number 3. The Last of Us Part 1 PC version. Originally released in 2013, The Last of Us was and remains a masterpiece. Thanks to its excellent combat, engrossing world design, and unparalleled storytelling, The Last of Us quickly became known as one of the best video games of all time. When Naughty Dog announced that a remaster of the game was coming to PC, fans were ecstatic, but that enthusiasm quickly soared once they got their hands on the port. On launch, the game spent hours building shaders. A week and 2 patches later, that wait time had barely been cut in half. The game pushed CPUs to their absolute limit, and regardless of the hardware players had to run it, freezes, hilariously weird bugs, and even crashes were a frequent occurrence. Players reported input lag from their controllers that was either difficult or impossible to work around. Days after launch, Naughty Dog released a statement on Twitter saying, "We know some of you have not experienced the Naughty Dog quality you expected. The studio promised to continue working to fix the game, and in the first month after its release, multiple updates attempted to address all the problems. Considering Naughty Dog's reputation, the port's release was particularly jarring. Then again, the fact that footage for the port's announcement trailer was captured on PS5 should have been a red flag for everyone." Number 4. Atomic Heart. Atomic Heart might be one of the rockier games that we have reviewed this year, but to be fair, it does manage to get plenty of things right. The game takes place in alternate 1955, in which advanced technology has allowed the Soviet Union to build Facilities 3826, a communist utopia powered by sci-fi robotics. All is well until the robots turn on their masters and utter chaos breaks out across the entire city. That premise sounds reminiscent of Bioshock, but the bright, dazzling visual of Atomic Heart couldn't be further from Rapture. As players make their way through the game, the gunplay is almost engaging and only somewhat hampered by repetitive, overly simple puzzles. Sounds like a hit, right? What ends up weighing down Atomic Heart like a 2-ton chunk of steel is the writing. By the end of the game, the main storyline doesn't really go anywhere satisfying. But even that can be forgiven if the line-by-line dialogue didn't make you constantly cringe. The protagonist, P3, dishes out incessant quips and in-between jokes that fail to land. He says crispy critters so much that gamers have made compilation videos about the phrase. Meanwhile, every single line spoken by Nora, the sentient in-game item shop, is so aggressively sexual. You will feel uncomfortable even if you're playing by yourself. With another pass through the script, Atomic Heart might have been something truly spectacular. Number 5, Blood Bowl 3. The idea of leading a team of customized orcs in a bloody match of football that mostly throws out all the rules sounds great. The Blood Bowl franchise, based on the Nietzsche tabletop game of the same name, is fantasy football set in the Warhammer universe. The very premise of the game appealed to a narrow selection of gamers, but fans truly love the concept. They don't, however, truly love Blood Bowl 3 itself. One player took to Reddit to express their disappointment, writing, "Blood Bowl 3 has broken me. One of the biggest problems with the game is that it's riddled with bugs and prone to crashing. Luckily, since it's ostensibly a live service game, there is a good chance that those issues will be resolved in the future." The bigger problem with the Blood Bowl 3 is that it's filled so many microtransactions that players might need a small business loan just to get into the game. One major appeal of the game is the ability to customize your players, but getting a full team tricked out in the way you want them can cost around $50, with additional special items available for even more money. That's a lot to ask to gain access to the full experience of a game that already costs $30 on its own. Sorry, tabletop fans, this one isn't for you. Number 6, Disney Speedstorm. Look out, Mario! Disney is trying to move in on your turf. Disney Speedstorm is a kart racing game with all your favorite Disney characters and all of your least favorite monetization systems. Planned as a free-to-play title, Speedstorm takes the usual gacha system inherent in those games and cranks them up to 11. There is a battle pass, of course, but there are also blue tokens, purple tokens, gold tokens, multiplayer tokens, chests of randomized cosmetics, eraser shards for character upgrades, and more. It's a seriously heavy-handed approach to a system that gamers are already primed for developers to abandon. What's especially bizarre is that the game is currently in early access and the only way to play it is to pay money for a special access pass. Players are able to progress through characters on every current console, but only if they buy a fresh pass for each system they want to play on. With all the monetization out of the way, it's time to turn to the gameplay. Nothing breaks the mold here. Characters all have individual special moves to use during races, which adds some nice variety, but repetitive tracks hold back the pleasure of that invention. The cards themselves handle particularly well can be fun to use, but considering all the baggage the game has and the fact that currently only PS5 players can enjoy 4-person split screen, there are so many better options out there. Hopefully, the full version of the game with Hopefully, the full version of the game will feel more worth players' time. Number 7, Dookie Dash. There are a few games that have has a little to offer as Dookie Dash. The first game from Yuga Labs, the parent company behind Bored Ape Yacht Club, Dookie Dash goes all in on NFT gaming. Players can only hop into the game if they own Bored Ape, Mutant Ape, or a new invention called a Sewer Pass, which comes in several tiers. That skyrockets the ground floor cost of getting into the game. The trade-off that the best players in the game are granted a power source, which is just another NFT that can potentially be used in future Yuga Labs games or sold off to some other poor soul. What kind of gaming experience do you get after dropping, as some gamers have noted, upwards of $2,000 of the opportunity to play the game for just a few weeks? You will pilot an ape down a long sewer tunnel filled with obstacles to avoid or smash through and fragments to collect. The further you make it down the tunnel and the more fragments you pick up, the higher your score will be. That might sound like something you'd have played on your iPod Touch, and it will look like it too. Number 8, Forspoken. Forspoken is another game with a ton of potential that it just didn't quite live up to. On a positive note, the game blends magic and parkour into a traversal system that feels great to play and remains visually engaging throughout the entire game. Beyond that, the game has a collection of good ideas that all needed a bit more time to develop. Initially, the game's combat feels varied and exciting. Players have access to a wide range of magical abilities that, when combined with the traversal mechanics, make controlling a large crowd of enemies fun. Over time, though, the lack of any real challenge transformed the combat into a flurry of button mashing that you can more or less perform on autopilot. While all the magical effects are flashy enough, the visuals don't look as good as they should on a PS5. The biggest struggle in Forspoken is the narrative. Frey is an interesting enough main character, but she constantly undercuts the drama of her situation with a steady deluge of jokes that mostly fall flat. The magical world of Athia, much like the game's combat, is intriguing at first glance but reveals itself to be almost paper thin as the game progresses. Ultimately, the story is about as satisfying as a bag of photo chips. The story is about as satisfying as a bag of potato chips, which is a big step down from the four-course meal we've come to expect from Square Enix games. Number 9, God of Rock. What if Guitar Hero was also a fighting game? That's essentially the premise in God of Rock, in which players choose from a number of fighters and step into the stage for a one-on-one rhythm battle. Hitting notes more accurately than your opponent dishes out damage, but also has the unfortunate side effect of spiraling some fights out into a never-ending war of attrition. Every once in a while, you can throw out a super move using more traditional fighting game inputs, but good luck nailing one of those intricate attacks without losing track of the beat entirely. For all its promise, God of Rock feels like a rough draft. It's not just the rhythm and fighting mechanics are sometimes at odds with each other, but also that neither side of the equation is particularly strong on its own. The game's UI can make tracking all the notes a struggle, and PC players might as well pass on the game entirely. As Shack News reviewers noted, the keyboard inputs, to put it bluntly, straight up don't work. The music is in the music in the music the music in the game suffers too, as the lack of licensed songs prevents the game from feeling like a real rock and roll celebration. It would be great to see this idea explored more in the future, but for now, it's a definite disappointment. Number 10, Minecraft Legends. Minecraft Legends tries its best to appeal to multiple different audiences. On the one hand, it reaches out to legions of Minecraft fans with its world and characters, but it also tries to grab the attention of people who love unit-based tactical strategy games. It ends up working its way to the middle, offering neither group much of anything. The main problem with Minecraft Legends is that its tactical gameplay is unfocused and likely to alienate gamers who've spent more time with polished strategy games. Instead of putting players into the position of a god overseeing the battlefield, the game inserts the player character into the action that greatly limits your strategic options in practice. There are other limitations that feel out of place for the general, like the inability to give orders to individual units on the battlefield. Instead, you've got to send groups of combatants to the same objective, and it's a 50-50 shot if the AI will carry them to their proper destination. The game also includes building mechanics just like you would expect from a Minecraft title, but those are just as rough as the tactical elements. Because you because the actual gameplay is centered around the battles, all the building comes across as being included only by necessity. Maybe Minecraft Legends can introduce a new audience to the RTS genre, but considering gamers are advising each other to avoid the title, there is not much hope for that either. Number 10. Minecraft Legends. Minecraft Legends tries its best to appeal to multiple different audiences. On the one hand, it reaches out to legions of Minecraft fans with its world and characters, but it also tries to grab the attention of people who love unit-based tactical strategy games. It ends up working its way to the middle, offering neither group much of anything. The main problem with Minecraft Legends is that its tactical gameplay is unfocused and likely to alienate gamers who've spent more time with polished strategy games. Instead of putting players into the position of a god overseeing the battlefield, the game inserts the player character into the action that greatly limits your strategic options in practice. There are other limitations that feel out of place for the general, like the inability to give orders to individual units on the battlefield. Instead, you've got to send groups of combatants to the same objective, and it's a 50-50 shot if the AI will carry them to their proper destination. The game also includes building mechanics just like you would expect from a Minecraft title, but those are just as rough as the tactical elements. Because you because the actual gameplay is centered around the battles, all the building comes across as being included only by necessity. Maybe Minecraft Legends can introduce a new audience to the RTS genre, but considering gamers are advising each other to avoid the title, there is not much hope for that either. Number 12. Wanted Dead. Wanted Dead is part hack and slash, part third person shooter, part minigame extravaganza, and part zombie themed anime. As with anything that tries to be everything, the game doesn't pull off any of its multiple genres very well. Though the game proudly proclaimed that it shares a lineage with Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive, it by no means stands shoulder to shoulder with those hits. The story follows an elite police team murdering its way through zombies in the streets of Hong Kong. Despite the amount of time the game dedicates to showing the squad working with each other, don't expect to walk away with a new favorite fictional character. The storytelling here is decidedly subpar, but that's okay as long as the gameplay is great, right? It's not. For a hack and slash game, there is a shocking lack of abilities and moves for players to really dig into. When performing the same attacks gets dull, players can swap over their guns. But the enemies in the game are so good at bullet sponging, it hardly feels worthwhile to try. On top of that, the AI runs into frequent problems getting held up when limbs are flying, and for the most part, all enemies use the same attacks. Though there are only 5 levels in the game, extremely long encounters, infrequent checkpoints, and an overload of cutscenes stretch the entire experience out for about 10 grueling hours. That is, if you keep skip the plethora of pointless minigames, which most players likely will. Okay guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe, like, and of course comment below. Sorry guys for the delay of daily upload. We don't have daily upload till now, and I hope we can fix it. You know guys, I have school and lessons to do, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like this video if you like this type of videos. Until the next video guys, see you soon.